morning. I am in historic downtown Winter Garden in Central Florida. Now, I've actually lived in Winter Garden since about July of 2020, and for the 6 months prior to that I lived down in Celebration, and for about a decade or so prior to that I actually lived over in Austin, Texas. Now, if you're new here, hello, thanks for checking it out, and click subscribe and all the YouTuberies. But I'll actually stick a link to a video I made quite a while ago now, which is just an abridged version of how I ended up living in the States, and specifically getting lost in Florida, from my roots in London, England. I'll stick a link to that there and you can check that out if you want to. And it dawned on me that I've never actually made a dedicated video to downtown Winter Garden, where I live, my hometown, and I should, because I absolutely I absolutely love living here. It's such an idyllic, quaint downtown area that's really bustling and thriving with coffee shops and bars and restaurants, and it's just a really, really great place. So I thought I'd make a video. Also, it's Christmas week, and the Christmas installation they've done here is second to none. I haven't seen a downtown area this season that I think tops it. It really feels like it's just been lifted from a Hallmark Christmas movie. So I figured maybe I would just take you around a little bit, show you some of my favorite spots, and then later on tonight I'm actually meeting some friends for some beers and some food over at the brewery here, so I could maybe try and show you that, and then because it will be dark, the Christmas stuff. I'm getting wet. The weather is not cooperating. It's very on and off. It's raining and it's windy and then it's clear. My drone is a lot wetter than I'd like it to be already. So let's just see how this goes. As I say, it is raining. I'm gonna get back in the car until it stops raining, and then maybe we'll go grab some breakfast from my favorite spot for breakfast. That was an intro. Okay, so I kind of avoided the rain-ish. I'm now sat outside on the patio of my absolute favorite downtown spot for breakfast or brunch or a snack and a coffee. It's called Rosalie, Le French Cafe. It sits on a street called Plant Street. Now, Plant Street is the main thoroughfare that runs through downtown Winter Garden. So pretty much everything in downtown Winter Garden either sits directly on Plant Street or off of a little side street that feeds off of Plant Street. The reason that Rosalie is my absolute favorite go-to place is a few reasons. One, everything you ever get from here is delicious. The food is delicious, the pastries are fresh, everything's made to order, the drinks and the coffee are great too. But also the owners and the management here are really great. Everyone that works here is great too. I mean, I come here a lot, to be honest, but there's always just a good atmosphere, everyone's smiling, a lot of good banter back and forth. But yeah, it's just a great spot, and if someone was looking for a coffee shop that they could try that they haven't tried before, or fancy getting like a nice pastry, Rosalie Le French Cafe on Plant Street in Winter Garden, I can't recommend it highly enough. I think one of the reasons I really do like this as a cafe is it doesn't feel very American. It does feel very French and European. hence the name, I suppose. But they've really committed to it inside with the decor. You can get wine, you can get mimosas, a great selection of coffees and teas, fresh pastries. It's just a really good menu, a really good selection of food, and everything about it just feels a little bit more European, therefore homely to me. One thing I would say is if you are an American watching this, or you are someone that just wants super snappy Starbucks service all the time, sometimes you will have to wait a little bit here. I don't see that as a negative whatsoever. The reason you're going to wait is, one, it's very popular, it's always very busy, but two, everything is made fresh to order. They take a lot of care over what they're doing here, so you will wait a few minutes more than you might at Starbucks, but 100% totally worth it. So I am eating egg and cheese croissant, so it's just a fresh butter croissant with fluffy eggs and cheese. I sometimes get bacon on it, not today. And then I have a side of yogurt parfait, which is like fresh fruit, granola and honey. And then I always get the fresh cheese Danish with fruit on it. Everything here is really delicious. So my intention for this video was just to kind of give a bit of a brief overview, like a little tour of the downtown area, show you what it looks like, try and put some of the atmosphere and like a feel of the place across on camera. The problem is the weather. It's pouring down on and off, but it's set to be like this for most of the day, which means I can't use this main camera outside because the lens and the body, they're not fully weather sealed. So I guess I could try the GoPro. I don't know, either way, this video is either not going to get finished or I'm going to get very, very wet making it. So I'm just going to eat my breakfast and say thank you to the guys here for letting me film, and then carry on, hopefully. Okay, so for a somewhat rudimentary background on Winter Garden itself, settlers started coming to the area, I believe in like the mid-1800s, due to very fertile muckland that surround Lake Apopka, which led to an abundance of citrus and vegetable farming. So Winter Garden as an area itself was officially established in the early 1900s, and I think it was declared a city officially in like 1908. And by the end of the 19th century, the downtown business district had kind of grown up alongside two railway lines that ran directly through the city. Winter Garden as an area actually suffered quite a downturn in the 60s because Lake Apopka, which was known as the big mouth bass fishing capital of lakes, something like that, actually became very heavily polluted, and with the development of all the major highways in the area, lots of business was drawn away from downtown Winter Garden. So Lake Apopka itself is actually the fourth largest lake in Florida. I think it sits at something like 48 square miles, and yeah, as I say, in the 60s it became heavily polluted, and that was part of the problem that occurred here in the 60s. Winter Garden now, thankfully, is a really thriving, growing city. The downtown area where we are is so lively. There's such a sense of community down here. It's very vibrant, full of coffee shops and bars and restaurants and hair salons and boutiques, ladies' clothing stores, home goods stores. It's just a really wonderful place to come and chill out, grab a bite to eat, grab a drink, people watch. So one of the things that really helped rejuvenate the area after the downturn was this introduction of something called the West Orange Trail. Now the West Orange Trail is effectively a 22-mile multi-purpose trail. People use it for walking and biking and running, and it runs through downtown Oakland, downtown Winter Garden and Apopka. Because of this, it started to draw thousands of people and visitors to the areas. So all of these new buildings that had been developed, businesses were moving into them and thriving because all these visitors were coming here and patronizing in the businesses. Where I'm actually sat here on the patio of Rosalie's cafe, it's on Plant Street, and literally through the middle of Plant Street is this West Orange Trail. So one of my favorite things actually about the downtown Winter Garden area is that the majority of the buildings down here are brick buildings. They're brick and they're stone, and they all look a little bit different from each other. And the reason for that was that the original wooden buildings that were here were actually destroyed in a couple of fires. So when they replaced everything, it came back in brick, and it just gives it a very sort of unique, original, retro, kind of historic feel, and I just really like it. As of now, Winter Garden has a population of like 48 to 50,000 people. It sits about 14 miles west of downtown Orlando in the western portion of Orange County. So one of the great things about living here in Winter Garden is that in 20-25 minutes, traffic dependent, you can be down to all of the magic that many people come to this area for, the Disneys and the Universals and the theme parks and all of those, world-class attractions that are here, which is awesome and really convenient whenever you want to go. But what's so nice about Winter Garden itself is that you would never know any of that stuff was there when you're here, because there's not a gift shop in sight. It's its own city, it's got its own identity, a really great community. So you're really getting the best of both worlds living here. You're getting your own city that has a real unique identity that you can become part of the community, but 25 minutes away, you've got all of the amazing things that you can go do. So my intention, as I've already said, was to really just give a very brief tour. Now the problem is the weather. Okay, it's pouring with rain again. I'm actually hidden under the canopy at the moment of the Winter Garden Heritage Foundation Railway Museum that's located here in downtown Winter Garden. It's just further up Plant Street from where Rosalie's French Cafe was, so if you wander down Plant Street, you'll come to a big yellow train carriage, and it's actually a train museum which is open and free to the public. So as the weather is so terrible, I'm just going to go and take a look inside the train museum. So I was actually mistaken. Where I was just cowering from the rain under the canopy, it isn't the Railway Museum. That's a couple of blocks away. What this is the Winter Garden Heritage Museum. And never been in this building before, so I'm actually really glad I've had to pivot because of the weather. It's so cool. It's a very old building. It reminds me of my high school very much. The smell, the wooden floors, the tall ceilings. Reminds me of my old high school, grammar school that I went to. But anyway, it's basically a few rooms put together, just covered with information and artifacts about the history of the area, like where Winter Garden came from, its industry, things it's been through, where it's going. It's actually really interesting. Obviously, I'm not going to film everything, but I'm going to spend a little bit of time in here and just read about where I live. I've always thought it's important wherever you live, and wherever I've lived in the world, to try and learn about where you live, its history, its past, where it's going, all of that stuff, to feel more part of the community and just more part of the area. So I'm actually going to spend some time in here educating myself. Yeah, so for example, this wall here is all about Lake Apopka. As I said earlier, it's considered the big mouth bass mega lake. I don't know what the word is, but if you're a fisherman and you're after big bass, apparently Lake Apopka is the place to be. And there's tortoiseshell and little alligator mouth down there. And then over here on this wall, there's just photographs sort of documenting the history of the area, along with some information sort of explaining the photograph from the 30s here. And this is what the shoreline looked like in 1936. And then over here, this is City Hall from 1936. So this image here is showing what seems to be a dead citrus grove, and it's talking about the freezes of the 1980s and then bacterial infestations severely impacted Florida's citrus industry. This is really interesting. I'm going to stop filming everything, but yeah, come here. The Winter Garden Heritage Foundation. I've just found this room in the back of the museum which has a looping video on it, all about the history of the area, where it came from, the agriculture, the citrus farming, the problems the city has faced, and kind of where it was and where it's going. I did just hear something interesting on the video. I did mention in Rosalie Cafe in the 60s about a downturn in the city's fortunes with regards to freezes and sort of pests and the lake becoming a little bit icky, but also mentioned the boom of freeways and highways in the local area that drew business away from downtown Winter Garden. One of the culprits I just heard a certain Walt Disney mentioned in this video, and his plans for a world apparently is down the street. I don't know. Okay, still raining. As I said a moment ago, I was mistaken. That was actually the Winter Garden Heritage Museum, not the Railway Museum. And I've just run across the block. It's like 2 blocks away. I'm now at the Winter Garden Railway Museum. It's dedicated to the original 2 railway lines that ran through this area, sort of where they came from, what they were used for, and what ended up happening to them. The other half of the museum is kind of dedicated more towards just North American railways in general. Railroadiana? I've just been told by the lovely people that work here. Railroadiana is what it's dedicated to. And it's got lots of examples. It's got things like seats from stations, it's got stop signals, it's just got lots of cool stuff. So I'm just going to have a quick walk around, and hopefully while I'm in here the rain will stop. So this is their little international section. There's information in here on the Orient Express and the Flying Scotsman. I've looked closely, there's no Hogswort Express in there. So this museum is actually free to the public, open Tuesday till Saturday from 11 a.m. So this is more information on the original railway lines that ran through this area in Central Florida. Now, whilst I wouldn't say that I'm overall like a specific train enthusiast, I do love history in all its forms, so this is actually really interesting. So not being someone that's overly au fait with trains in general, it doesn't really matter because it's just history, and history is where we came from. And then through this door up here is the section that's dedicated to railways in North America in general. Really cool. This upper section of the museum is dedicated mainly to just North American railways in general, and it's got a lot of examples and exhibits of the different type of uniforms that would have been worn, tools that would have been used throughout the years, signals and stop signs and signage and benches and seats from stations and platforms and things like that. I'm not a railway enthusiast per se, but I am always fascinated by history and sort of older things. It's worked out perfectly for me today because it's pouring with rain, it's free, and it's open, so I can get out of the rain and I can just enjoy having a look at some exhibits briefly. If you're a train enthusiast, I would definitely recommend it. And if it's the peak of the summer and it's baking hot outside and you have a few minutes that you want to get some air, the AC in here is great as well. So it's a real win all round. It's open Tuesday through Saturday from 11 AM, and again, it's absolutely free. Well worth stopping by and just having a little nosy at sort of some railway history. Really, really cool. Oh my goodness, I've just come out of the museum and the sun is out. It's still very cloudy one way, but there's blue sky temporarily, so let's get some filming done. Today really is the strangest weather day. It's a really beautiful day over this side of the sky, and that side of the sky, the rain's definitely coming back. But whilst I could take advantage of this warm weather, I actually took my hoodie off. I jumped on my scooter and I got onto the West Orange Trail, that 22-mile stretch of multi-use trail that goes between downtown Oakland, downtown Winter Garden, and Apopka. And I actually went from downtown Winter Garden all the way down to Oakland, which isn't that far. It only took 7-8 minutes. So I've actually never been on the West Orange Trail until today, to be perfectly honest with you. Obviously, I'm not going to do 22 miles on an electric scooter, but I just zipped from downtown Winter Garden here to Oakland, and it's so beautiful. The trail goes through all these huge trees with Spanish moss. I think I'm obsessed with Spanish moss on trees for some reason, but it's just something else I found that I love about the Winter Garden area is that you've got everything in that sort of historic downtown, real nice quaint community, and then you've got this whole outdoorsy thing. So in good weather you can run, you can bike, you can scoot, and you can like keep fit, which goodness knows I need to. Anyway, the rain is definitely coming back, so I am just gonna head back to downtown Winter Garden and hopefully be able to film something before the rain comes back. So yeah. Okay, so I am outside the Garden Theatre on Plant Street. It's directly opposite Rosalie's French Cafe, which I'm quickly realizing is becoming my geographical reference point for this video for some reason. But anyway, it is a listed historic theatre, and it shows over 200 performances per season. And in terms of genre, I believe it's completely across the board. Now, admittedly, it's somewhere I've never been yet, but it's definitely something I'm going to do. I'd love to go to a performance here. One of the things I love most about it is the building itself. It just reminds me of Back to the Future. It's just a very old school, retro-looking American theatre, and again, within this sort of brick building facade. Now, ordinarily on this sign here, they have like humorous or very inspirational messages. Changes up from time to time. Right now, obviously, it's just advertising spring classes. But yeah, it's just a really cool looking building. Like a really old school box office entrance. On the pavement outside of the theatre are these kind of old school ticket stubs with company names or people's names on them, and they're dedicated to those people that contributed to the theatre's holiday season program. Garden Theatre, Rosalie's French Cafe. Axum Coffee here is another really good coffee shop. There's an abundance of really good coffee shops downtown Winter Garden. Okay, so I'm taking advantage of this break in rain to enjoy just to stand outside and get some air and have a quick snack because I'm a bit peckish. I've stopped at one of my other sort of go-to downtown places if I want to just grab a quick bite to eat. It's Harold's Hot Dogs. You can sit inside, but it's effectively just a hot dog window, and it just does really, really good hot dogs and soft serve ice creams and ice cream cones. I actually didn't get a hot dog today. I've gone for a fried buffalo chicken dog covered in buffalo sauce, some blue cheese, and some like scallion slices. It looks delicious. So this is kind of what it looks like up close. Nothing huge, just a mouthful, apparently. Well, that's delicious. Obviously they're a hot dog window. That's not a traditional hot dog, but I can tell you the hot dogs from there are really, really good. Again, still on Plant Street, just on one side of it now. Anyone else agree that Coca-Cola tastes far better ice cold in a glass bottle? The weather is kind of playing havoc with this filming, so I'm pivoting kind of constantly, so I don't know how this is all going to turn out. Hopefully you get a good vibe of this downtown area. Just standing here while I'm having this little sort of snacky pit stop, it's one of the reasons I just love this downtown area so much. From where I stood, which is just on the side of Plant Street, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 or 6 patios from restaurants and cafes and bars with people just sitting outside watching the world go by. But it's just such a lovely downtown area that feels so quaint, so sort of vibrant and local, and everyone here genuinely is very friendly. I mean, I've never really met anyone here that hasn't taken the time to say good morning, good afternoon, ask how you are. You start speaking, they hear an accent, they ask where you're from, and you kind of just learn about sort of the people that you're living amongst. It's just a really lovely downtown area. The hot dog was delicious. Well, the chicken dog. Harold's Hot Dogs, awesome. This is Winter Garden Pizza Company, one of my favorite pizza places in the area. This, along with the pizza down at the brewery, are both delicious. Okay, so now I'm just going to walk straight back down the center of Plant Street on the West Orange Trail. This Thai Blossom restaurant just here does really good Thai food. So if you like Thai food, give it a try. So down this side of the Plant Street, there is Works, which is like a real high-end cycle shop where you can go and purchase cycles and equipment and get repairs done. And then there's a few more ladies' clothing boutiques coming up. And just down the way, there's a place called the Sacred Olive, and it's somewhere I've never been, but I'm definitely going to go at some point. It's effectively an olive oil tasting room, where they have a large number of olive oils and balsamic vinegars and things like that. They're very kind of higher end compared to maybe your supermarket versions. And you can go in there and you can sample some and you can pair them and buy olive oils. I've never done it before, but it's something I'll definitely do because I like olive oil. And I truly do not know how to process this weather right now. It's gone from pouring down to overcast to bright sunny skies to pouring down to not pouring down to pouring down. It's all over the place, this weather. So we'll see how this all comes together. This is a cool splash pad area where you get a lot of kids with their parents. They come and play in the splash pad, and there's areas up here where people can lay out, or benches where you can just come sit, enjoy your coffee. And just behind it, in this area here, so from this parking lot over here, all the way down, this is Tremaine Street, this is South Lakeview Avenue, all the way down here back down over there, which is Plant Street. Every Saturday morning, Winter Garden has a farmer's market where local vendors will come in with different meats and cheeses and jams and different foods, flowers, and just local businesses will come and sell their goods here, and it's a really, really cool atmosphere. So again, if you're going to be in this area, maybe on vacation, and you're thinking Winter Garden sounds like a cool place to go, Saturday morning is always very vibrant. Come up, grab a coffee, do some people watching, look around the farmers market. Whether you live in the area or whether you're on vacation, I think Winter Garden is a definite must-visit spot just for a few hours, just to see somewhere that's a bit different, has nothing to do with magic, has nothing to do with Disney or Universal. It's a very real, vibrant community, but Disney and Universal are just on your doorstep. Just stopped by a brand new building down by City Hall. This building's been built over the last couple of years really, and it's just starting to open. It's called The Exchange, and it's a 3-story building, and I believe that the upper floors are going to be leased out as office space. And then the ground floor is going to be sort of set out with some boutique stores in there, some small restaurants, there's already a coffee shop open, and it's still being built, part of it, but it looks really amazing. And what I like about this building a lot is that although it's brand new, it's really in keeping with the overall aesthetic of the downtown area. So there's a lot of brick, there's a lot of washed brick and natural colored brick, and in the windows it looks very industrial, very like retro, and like an industrial sort of warehouse, which is really in keeping with everything else. Okay, so here it looks like they're going to be opening maybe some sort of restaurant, and the building on the left you can see is a little bit more modern looking. It's like a beige stucco. But then over here in the middle you can see this really cool whitewashed brick and these like really industrial windows. Got the Exchange up there, the building name. These upper floors I believe are going to be leased as office space, and then down here on the ground floor is where we're going to have this kind of mall, let's call it, with some boutiques. Now a lot of it's still being sort of built and leased out, but Apricot Lane Boutique has opened, and it looks to me like this is a ladies' clothing boutique. I'm not sure if you can see through the window. It's cool. And then over here the building transitions again into this more sort of red stone brick, and this is where Foxtail Coffee Company has opened. Now if you're in the area you might see Foxtail Coffee around here, and there's one in Claremont, there's one downtown Orlando, there's a few of them around, and if you are a coffee lover and you like a really good coffee, I highly recommend them. They do really, really decent coffee, and the building itself again looks so cool. The other thing that's inside this Foxtail Coffee is a Kelly's homemade ice cream, and they're basically a very local sort of handmade ice cream company. I've never had it, but I've heard very, very good things about it, so that's within Foxtail Coffee. So I did stop for a little pick-me-up. I got myself a doppio, which is basically a double espresso, but I always add orange bitters to it. Absolutely delicious. But look how adorable their custom cups are for the season. Oh, it's so good. Genuine pick-me-up. It's gonna rain again. Okay, so hopefully that gave somewhat of a feel for the downtown Winter Garden area, what it looks like, how it's laid out. I'm having a quick break because the sun is back out. I'm on a rooftop patio of a little Mexican restaurant called the Whole Enchilada. Really cool, like quick service Mexican place, burritos, tacos, chips and queso, chips and guacamole. Really decent. Very nice selection of IPAs too. Okay, so several hours have passed, as you can probably tell by the darkness. Weather well and truly interfered with play today. It meant that filming outside became quite tricky and I was ducking inside quite often. So the idea I had in my head for this video and how I really wanted it to be presented probably isn't going to come to fruition, and I'm just hoping that I have captured enough footage to put together something that does justice to this wonderful place of Winter Garden and hopefully makes people want to come and visit. So it's obviously nighttime at the moment and it's not raining, which is good because it means that there's quite a lot of people out and there's a nice hustle and bustle and there's a good atmosphere. Christmas music is being piped through speakers on all the trees and all the light posts, the lights are now on, people are out taking pictures. So it's just a really nice festive feeling. I'm having dinner and drinks with friends down at the Crooked Can Brewing Company brewery, so I figured let's just walk back down Plant Street now the lights are on and just try and capture some of the festive magic, because they really have done a wonderful job at making this place look festive. Something like that. Anyway, let's go and look at some Christmas lights. I'm not sure if it's picking up, but can you hear that? So there's just Christmas music constantly being piped through speakers in the bushes, in the trees, on the light posts. It just, you're surrounded by lights and music, and it's just such a festive atmosphere. It really does feel like an idyllic Christmas town from a Hallmark Christmas movie. It's really, really wonderful. Okay, so I finally made it to the Crooked Can Brewing Company brewery. It's inside the Plant Street Market building, so it's inside like an indoor market. And so I don't know if anyone knows like Borough Market in London. Imagine a really tiny, minuscule version of the covered sections of Borough Market. I mean, it's not really, it's an indoor market. We're gonna go inside. Yeah, if you could just grab my jacket and bag, thank you. And my plan was to come down to the brewery, to Plant Street Market, and do some like cool shots inside of it. But it's so busy tonight, obviously. There's a lot of people out, very exuberant, very party atmosphere. People are drinking, people are eating, celebrating with friends and family. So I'm just not gonna get in everyone's way, and it's just not conducive. So what I would quickly do maybe is just go inside and give you a quick view of what it looks like inside.
As for the outside, you've got this huge outdoor patio. As you can see, it's very, very busy. And this building is Plant Street Market.
I'm just going to start at the very end of Plant Street Market, the furthest end from the brewery at the moment, because it's obviously quieter because the alcohol is down there, so that's where the people are.
Axum Coffee Roastery, coffee area. Now Axum actually have a full coffee shop further down Plant Street where I was earlier. We've got Pressed Juice Bar and Kitchen. Now Pressed do sort of fresh, premium, healthy smoothies and bowls, and they do juice cleanses and that kind of thing as well. And over here, ceviche mix. If ceviche is your thing, they do a really good fresh ceviche here with chips and guacamole and stuff. It's really, really good. Hunger Street Tacos is exactly what it says. It does delicious made-to-order tacos.
So Sir Benji's Donuts is one of my favorite things in here because it reminds me of being by the sea in the UK, like maybe somewhere like Brighton. You can get those fresh donuts made to order. They taste just like that. They cook them up fresh like that, and then you choose your topping, like cinnamon sugar or whatever you want, and they put it in a bag and shake it up. Really, really good.
A nice little sushi bar over here. I've had sushi from here a few times. Very good, very fresh, very tasty. It's called Jodo Sushi. Has a little seating area. So then you've got the Butcher's Deli, which is a really nice sort of delicatessen stroke butchers. You can get lots of really nice cuts of meat that you can take away with you and grill. So this is Michael's coal-fired pizza, and this is probably where I'm going to eat tonight. I've had pizza from here so many times. It's absolutely delicious. They do 12-inch coal-fired pizzas, strombolis, wings, salads, that kind of thing. Hey buddy, how you doing, man?
How you doing?
Good, man. See these guys working away back here? That's definitely where I'm getting dinner from.
The other thing I often get from here is from this place Macked Out, and it's basically delicious mac and cheese with all different toppings. I get the buffalo chicken mac and cheese, but they do a meatball mac and cheese, a truffle mac and cheese, they do a deconstructed cheeseburger, I think, and then they have specials from time to time. So if you like mac and cheese and you want to taste really genuinely very good mac and cheese, this place here
Macked out.
And then just behind me here you have this little piggy barbecue. Now the barbecue from here is absolutely delicious. I don't get it that often because I'm spoiled. I lived in Texas for over 10 years. Florida barbecue doesn't compete. However, it is very, very good, and the ribs here are delicious, but I just fancy pizza tonight. So it's just altogether far too busy to be filming in here right now. Everyone's having a great time, and I don't want to be the reason that people stop having a great time. So I am just getting...
Great time.
Cheers! Yeah! Yeah!
Cheers!
Happy holidays! Yeah, everyone's having a great time. So I am just gonna head outside. We've got a table where my friends are and just go, we're gonna order some food and have a couple of drinks. It's such a cool place and another fantastic reason to visit Winter Garden. Okay, so I tapped out of being inside Plant Street Market. As you saw, it's extremely busy. It's holiday week. Cheers, guys. I'm back at my table with friends. We've ordered pizza from Michael's Coal Fire Pizza. I don't know if I mentioned it, but Crooked Can itself is actually a craft brewery. So if you're like me and the concept of generic North American beers doesn't appeal to you, this is the place for you. They do their own selection of lagers and IPAs, Hefeweizens, pale ales, and they obviously have the brewery here, but they also do supply some of their product to retail. So places like Total Food and Wine or Publix, you might find their Crooked Can Sunshine Lager or their Cloud Chaser Hefeweizen or the High Stepper IPA, which is delicious, which is what I'm drinking. You can also come and do, I believe it's free, a little tour of the actual brewery itself. So you can go out the back where they're brewing, look at the vats and the lines and things like that. So that's basically it for this video. Not only is it the end of the video, but that's it for 2021. I had intended that this would be the last video of 2021, but we have holiday commitments with family over in Texas, so we're not going to be here for the holidays and we're going to be back right at the end of the year. So in my mind, this would go out on the 30th or the 31st, and in reality, those people that know Chris know this will go out on the 1st or 2nd of January, most likely. Before I go, I do want to say a sincere thank you to everyone that subscribes to this channel, whether you've been here since the start, bless you, or you're new to the channel, or you follow me on Instagram. I want to say a genuine thank you. 2021 has been another very challenging year for everyone, and everyone faces these challenges in different degrees and in different ways, and I know that it's been hard for a lot of people. When I started this channel, I never had any idea of where it was going, what I wanted to do with it, or what I was doing in general, really, and there's an argument to say I still don't have an idea what I'm doing. But one thing I have become aware of is this virtual homogenous community that's been built around the channel of very, very supportive people, very caring people, and this community has meant a lot to me this year. And I just want to say that I try my best to reply to every comment I get on YouTube and on Instagram. I possibly fail sometimes, but I do my best to reply to everyone. If you ever leave a comment and I don't reply, I will have definitely seen it, and I apologize if I just haven't had the time to reply, but thank you so much. It really does mean a lot. The new year's approaching, and it's that funny time of year where we all get a little bit introspective, and this new year, new me mantra, which I've never subscribed to be perfectly honest with you. I think that the concept of New Year's resolutions aren't one that I particularly enjoy because I feel that we set unattainable targets for ourselves. I want to lose 30 pounds by the end of, or I'm going to have my last cigarette on the 31st of December. Chances are you might not, and if you set yourself that target, you all of a sudden find that you've set a date for failure. So I feel like rather than trying to resolve for wholesale change, we should just try and strive for slight improvements in us. Don't get takeout every day, Chris. Cook a couple more times a week. Walk a little bit further every day. Park a little bit further from the supermarket, so you have to walk a few extra steps. Be kinder to each other. Try and reply to text messages to the people that you care about and care about you a bit more promptly, rather than just putting it off because you're just too anxious to reply to text messages. Whatever it might be for you, be kind with the targets you're setting yourself. Incremental improvement has to be better than setting yourself a goal that is not necessarily realistic. This pursuit of perfection, which doesn't exist by the way, the pursuit of producing something perfect destroys progress. So let's not try and be perfect next year. Let's just try and be a bit better. I feel like if all of us can just be slightly better human beings, slightly kinder to ourselves and to each other, more forgiving, more understanding, if en masse we can achieve a little bit of an improvement, that has to be better than just a few people losing 30 pounds or managing to stop smoking for the year. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I know that my friends want me to turn the camera off now. So that said, I do need to lose 30 pounds very desperately. So maybe in the new year, any new videos, you're going to see some really nice close-up shots of salads with no dressing and water. But anyway, yeah, look, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Just a huge thank you to everyone. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've enjoyed the content I've put out this year, and I want to thank everyone. So yeah, happy holidays, happy new year, be kind to each other and keep going. Cheers everyone. Fine, I'm turning it off.